So, Lee, you were born in the Philippines, but you grew up in New York City in the Bronx.
Yes.
So you moved from an area where Lego was a luxury item to one of the markets where it's at its cheapest. Did you have a lot of Lego growing up?
In the Philippines, my mom would bring it from New York. So I get a free Duplo set every once in a while. But I remember mostly my classic space stuff, or not so classic, M-Tron, Blacktron. I didn't have a lot, but I had enough to play with.
You remember which one was your first, or is it just that you remember better what you actually played a lot with?
I remember better what I played with. I got a picture with a Duplo set when I was a kid somewhere. My space collection, really, who knows where it is. Yeah.
Is it true that you were so fascinated with the way your Lego toys could easily be taken apart and put back together that you actually dismantled your other toys because you thought that was how toys should be?
My mom was happy about me taking a screwdriver to my Transformers toys. I put them back together. It's just like Lego.
So everything is just
Everything
like Lego.
is just like
You just have
Lego,
to know
yeah,
where it
yeah.
goes. Yeah. You didn't get instructions with the Transformers though?
No.
No.
You only got taught how to transform them from robot to whatever it was.
Yeah, not from robots to pile
Not
of
from
parts.
robot to pile of parts.
No, exactly. Okay.
And I try to combine them with everything else.
So I know that you, like most of us, stared at the Lego catalogs for hours. Were you always drooling over the advanced stuff, or were there several themes that interested you?
Pretty much every theme. I really, really wanted a monorail. I never got one. So, I had to pick my battles. If I had to pick one, I wish for Christmas, it'd be a Technic set. But
Yeah.
I wanted kind of the whole thing.
Yeah. So I'm asking you that obviously because what you're known for and what you do for a living is building and developing technically advanced models with Technic and Mindstorms. But looking through your Flickr, it's evident that you did also build with System Lego. There are Vic Vipers there and a yellow tumbler for 2005, 3 years before the first official Lego tumbler came out. Did Technic stuff just appeal more to the engineer in you?
Yeah, he's been digging. I like stuff that moves, things with functions, things with mechanics. Like even those old Blacktron little walkers had little gears and like turntables in them. Those were really fun. But Technic was like build a car, build a motorcycle. And, they were more fun to play with.
Because actually there's stuff like it goes together and it functions. Yeah. I mentioned 2005. You attended Brickfest in Virginia that year. And that just happened to be the year that Kjelke Christiansen and several of the other most important Lego people were there. And that event is where Jamie Berard was discovered and eventually offered an internship. And there's a picture with you and Kjell from back then, 12 years ago. Was that critical in any way to your motivation to become a Lego designer?
Actually, not so much. I think I wasn't even sure I could actually have that job, number one. Number two, I just wanted to play with toys, and getting to meet the guy who owns the company was just really cool. But in that sense, I would have wanted this job whether I met him or not.
But probably knowing that there actually is such a job is more important.
More important than
Yeah.
Like, I got a picture, that 2005 picture was kind of right when Lego was not doing well. I got a picture with him in Scareback this year, and I think he looks younger now. Because I think back then he wasn't so happy.
But designing Lego models in Billund, that was not your first Lego job. You started a bit further down on the career ladder, am I right?
I started in Lego brand retail, 2004. Can you imagine my mom with mechanical and aerospace engineering degree, and I get a job at a retail store.
Selling Lego.
Selling Lego. But it was fun. I learned a lot, and I always hoped it would lead to something else.
And it did. I know very little about First Lego League, personally. But it's a big thing, and you got very much involved in that, right?
Yes. Um, I actually sold the first NXT to the guys who were running the New York City First LEGO League. So when it came out in 2006, these guys came into the store. They're like, hey, tell us more about this. And then I sold them their first set. And then they invited me to come and see what their tournament was like in Riverbank State Park, which was pretty cool. A couple hundred kids over there got me hooked. And then I started a team. And now I design the darn thing.
Exactly. When I've picked the guests for these two talk shows, I've picked people I know, and there are several reasons for that. It makes the conversation flow more easily. It means the guests hopefully feel more comfortable in my company and with my questions. And it gives me an opportunity to ask the questions I should have asked a long time ago, but never did. And now it's slightly awkward to ask them because we know each other to the extent that I really should know the answers to the questions by now. I've known you for almost 5 years, but I've never asked you, how did you end up in Denmark?
I was asked to come, actually, through my connections in brand retail when I left, and being at First LEGO League events, and going to events and being in right place, right time. Somebody noticed, and someone put my name up, and I got an email in February 2010 asking me if I would join the LEGO company, and it was kind of snowballed from there, really.
That's headhunting into the LEGO company.
I got headhunted in. So it's a little different than the design process that Tiago might have gone through. My boss asked me to come and interview for 5 weeks.
Okay.
Which was live in Berlin for 5 weeks and see if you want to stay there.
Yeah. Right. So you didn't really have that much to prove. It was more of, can this work or not?
I mean, I felt like I did.
Yeah.
I started sitting in front of a guy who designed my childhood. He did almost all of the Technic sets. He did a bunch of space. He did First LEGO League for 10 years before that. So I felt like I had something to prove. But they also wanted to see if I wanted to stay there. And I think I also needed to see that this was the right place for me.
Mm-hmm. That was in September 2010.
Yeah.
What were your first tasks when you started working for the company? What did you end up doing? Except for interviewing.
Yeah. The first task was kind of thinking about designing the next robot. So the kid's first experience, which is a little bit of a task. We had a little pressure, and I had my thoughts about how the NXT was done, but it was so cool to make robots. And then it was make 30 robots, and then 40 robots out of the same bomb. So it was a pretty crazy task. And then probably one of the craziest ones was, can you make a cute robot?
Right.
But then, like, Tiago and most of my other friends, like, they got to see their box in the first year they were out.
Yeah.
I waited 3 years before I could even talk about what I was working on.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're a LEGO designer, like Marcus Rolbüller, like Tiago, like Melchadek, who are all here. But they rely mainly on interlocking plastic bricks. You, on the other hand, also rely heavily on technology, which becomes outdated in a completely different way and much faster than plastic does. Mm-hmm. How does that make your job different?
I think I deal with more functions, which means more testing, which means probably more failures. And I also have to program. I also have to deal with turning it into a curriculum for kids, and they have to learn from it. So it's definitely a different challenge than my other colleagues.
Yeah. We're friends on Facebook, so every time you travel, your pictures pop up in my feed, along with this little duck you're bringing along, the Lego duck.
In my pocket.
Exactly. So they pop up from my feed, at least when Facebook wants them to, or thinks it's advantageous for them that I see your pictures. But that means I know you, so I know that you travel a lot. It's not all work related, but a lot of it is. What is it you do when you go on all these trips?
It depends. If it's work related, generally for First LEGO League, it's either some sort of development meeting or going to a tournament itself and seeing what the kids are doing with our sets in the competition. Sometimes I judge. Lately, I've been doing tech support, which means helping teams that are traveling from thousands of miles away and they might be missing a piece, and hopefully I have it for them.
Mm-hmm. And then you bring your own creations. Many times you do. Yeah. Like, for example, an almost child-sized humanoid robot called Evan, mm-hmm. Or massive dragons. And you say that you meet the children, so I'm guessing that inspires you a lot. But where do you draw your inspiration from?
Gosh, I like all sorts of pretty things, and like I want to build big because if I need to build small, then it's not mine anymore to build. But Evan, it was actually a work project. Someone wanted it in a catalog, and I was like, can I hang on to it, make a Facebook page of it? The dragons, I like dragons. I like mythical creatures. I've been trying to build a dragon since 2008. Never had enough pieces in my old collection.
It's not an issue anymore.
My personal collection doesn't have enough pieces, but I get to build a little bit at work.
Yeah. If I say that I assume that the line between building stuff at work to bring on your trips as examples of what you can do and building stuff at home for fun, that line can be a bit blurred. Would you agree with that? Sometimes.
I like to think of when I build at work, it's kind of learning and getting better at the. And anytime I build something like that, I'm learning something. I'm getting something out of it, developing my skills. Because, gosh, you guys could build circles around me, and I felt that way when I walked into the office. So I'm like, I do want to get better. I do want to get something cool out of this. And it's answering the question, what would you build if you had all the toys in the world?
Yeah. So you have brought Evan to New York, and you did a photo shoot on Manhattan with this robot. You've worked with fashion designer Anuk Ripprecht. What's the coolest experience your job has given you?
Gosh, that's cool.
For you?
For me, I think definitely one time, the first time I went to Brazil was really crazy. But every time I go somewhere new, I learn something. I came here and ate francesinha with these guys. It's the biggest sandwich I've ever seen. I thought it was American. Where is that? Just learning some new stuff. I think the cool things is learning about the way people put stuff together. Finding beauty in those things.
I wasn't expecting the francesinha to be on that list, but it's cool. I agree with that. But finally, Lee, would you say that you have your dream job, and do you think you'll ever leave it voluntarily?
I think I have my dream job. I'm surprised. I hope I would be able to leave it voluntarily, because I hope there's something better out there for me. I got here, so it's like, what's next? So I hope I can find that. If not, well, I get to play with toys all day. So.
You think you'll keep building with
I could do that for a while.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks.